Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Farmhouse Mama. So in today's video, I am getting ready for Thanksgiving and just making sure that I have all my utensils that is needed for me to start cooking my dinner. And since I have them pulled out, I just thought I would show you guys what I use, why I use them, and just some of the things that you may need, because there are a lot of newlyweds who are cooking dinner for the first time. There are a lot of women who are just cooking dinner for the first time, or it may be, that your family has someone in your family, like the one who used to cook the Thanksgiving dinner, has passed on, and you want to pick up the tradition. So we are going to go into some of the things that I use as far as utensils go, and just pretty much what I do to get prepared for Thanksgiving. So the first thing that I do is, one of the first things that I do, I'm not going to say the first, but one of the first things that I do is I go through my cabinet and take a look at all my seasonings and make sure that I have everything that I'm going to need to use to cook for that day. So I make sure I always have like my rosemary, my garlic, salt, all that good stuff. And whatever I don't have, or if I have a little bit of it, I make a list and I put it down on the list. The second thing I do is I decide what I'm going to cook for dinner, which is most likely, the same thing every year, because my family, they don't really like change. So once I make my menu, I then turn around and I take each item that I'm going to be cooking and I break down the ingredients in it. And then I separate the ingredients into dry, wet, vegetable, whatever I need. So that's how I make my grocery list. So when I go to the grocery store, I'm not running back and forth from aisle to aisle. I'll start out with the vegetables, because that's normally right in front of the store, and then my dry goods or my frozen goods, and then I just work my way down the list. That usually helps me from, like I said, running back and forth throughout the store like some mad woman. You ever seen that woman in the store just running back and forth from aisle to aisle because her list is not, cohesive? So I do my dry goods. I make sure my sugars, my flours, my brown sugars, my white sugars, my salt, all that good stuff is in one section. All my dairy, like my butters and my milks, all that stuff is in one section, and so on and so forth. So, and then let me see, what's the third thing I do? After I get all of that, and most of the time I do my shopping in 2 or 3 parts. So I like to go and get all my dry goods and stuff like that first, because believe it or not, I've seen certain stores, run out of sugar, or might have dark brown sugar when you need light brown sugar and stuff like that. So I try to get all that stuff first, especially because it's so easy to store as well. And then if you can get your ham and your turkey, if that's what you're serving, and you can get your ham or your turkey at that time, by all means do it, because even though turkeys go on sale, the closer it gets to Thanksgiving, the cheaper the price gets. But what's going to happen is you're going to end up trying to unthaw a turkey at the very last minute, which is hard to do. Or you're going to end up with you might get it for a cheaper price, but you're going to end up with some huge turkey that you don't really need, some 20-pound turkey. So right now, if turkeys are running 89 cents a pound, I got mine because it was the size that I needed. Now, I could have waited until it went down to 49 cents a pound, but most of the time, those are the really huge turkeys left that nobody wants. So that's why I go ahead and get mine at that time, as well as my ham. And what's today? Today is Tuesday. So today is Tuesday. We got I think Thanksgiving is next Thursday. So today is Tuesday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my turkey out the freezer on Saturday, and that will let it thaw out for 3 days in the refrigerator. So it should be nice and thawed out by, if I take it out on Saturday, by Tuesday it should be nice and thawed out. And then what I do is I brine it on Tuesday, which I use kosher salt, and I just rub the kosher salt after I clean it and get it all cleaned out and everything. I just rub kosher salt all over it and put it in a oven bag and turn it breast side down. And I don't know what the chemical compound or whatever is it, but the kosher salt helps break down the meat and gets it more tender. So although having a butterball turkey, it's nice and everything, but they can be a little pricey or just a little bit too big for what you need. I get whatever turkey I find. I've used the same turkey for the last 2 years, but I figure as long as you can cook it right, it shouldn't matter what kind of turkey you get. So don't think that you have to go out there and spend a whole lot of money on a butterball turkey and stuff like that, because honestly, you don't. Especially if you cook it in a bag. Now, I like to cook mine in a bag because it holds in all the juices. It just cooks so much better to me. It's just like it comes out so good, and you still get that browning on the top. So after I take my turkey and unthaw it, get it going in the kosher salt, I let that sit for about a day, breast side down, a day or two. And then by Thursday, when I go to put all my seasonings and stuff on top of my turkey, I take it, I rinse it off, and I let my turkey sit out for at least an hour, hour and a half to almost get kind of room temperature, because you want the skin on the turkey to start to tighten up a little bit, and that's going to help give you that crisp that you're looking for in the skin, so it's not soft. I'm not a fan of soft turkey skin, so that's why I do that. So it's okay, you can just let it sit out for like an hour, hour and a half, because your turkey's going to be nice and cold anyway. So giving it that time just for the skin to tighten up on it is a good idea. Also, if I want to incorporate something new into my Thanksgiving dinner, I try it weeks in advance. I watch a lot of YouTube, and I have some favorite chefs that I watch as well. If I want to incorporate something that they did into one of my Thanksgiving meals, then I just play around with it, weeks in advance before I even bring it to my table for Thanksgiving. Because the last thing you want to do is try a new recipe and it don't work out, and it may taste good to other people, but something about it just wasn't right. Thanksgiving is not the time to try that. Alright guys, so if I think of anything else later on in this video, I will let you know. But the first item that I have right here is my juicer. And I haven't washed these yet. That's why I have them out, because they're going to need to get cleaned. I just wanted to make sure that I had everything. So this is like your zester. This is where I'm sorry, not your zester. This is your juicer. This is where you'll squeeze your lemon halves into, your limes or whatever, if you're juicing something. This is a apple slicer. So if you are making an apple pie or baked apples or whatever you're making, and you need to slice fruit, either apples or, whatever, this is a great inexpensive way to do that. I got this from Walmart. I think it was under $5. And I've kind of been using that as opposed to that apple peeler thingy contraption that I showed y'all before. That thing is not good. At least not for me, because I don't think I know what I'm doing. I also have my little rubber spatula here, and this is for basting anything that I need to baste with. I have my measuring spoons, which I'm going to go back and get some different measuring spoons, because I love my Pioneer Woman measuring spoons, but I feel like I'm going to break these things one day. I feel like if I throw it in the sink too hard, they're going to crack or something. And your tongs, in case you have to pick anything up with your tongs. Make sure you have you a good set of knives. These are my Paula Deen knife set. I have more, just didn't want to bring everything out. Make sure your knives are nice and sharp. Your big spoon. Everybody got a big spoon. This is my mama's big spoon. This is where she make that bomb cornbread stuffing. Make sure you have a spatula, a masher in case you're making mashed potatoes. You need a hand whisk, you know, in case you're whipping up something with eggs in it or something like that. Always have you a slotted spoon on hand and a rubber spatula. I have several of these. Gonna need your pair of scissors in case you need to cut something open. You don't want to be trying to cut it open with a knife and accidentally cut yourself. A can opener to get all your cans open with. A measuring cup. I have several of these as well. I think I'm gonna go buy me some more though. And a garlic press. And the most important thing is your wooden spoon. I love using this wooden spoon. I think it cracked right here. I'm going to go get me another one of these as well. But I love using a wooden spoon because the wooden spoon allows you to, if you're cooking something and it doesn't have a top to it or a lid on it and you want to keep it from boiling over, all you have to do is place the wooden spoon over top of that pot and it will keep whatever you're cooking from boiling over. And plus it's great for, you know, mixing up stuff too, like pastas and stuff like that as well. And make sure you have your mixing bowls. So this is just one of the bowls I have. These are several of my other mixing bowls along with my strainer. And then I have my Pioneer Woman bowls over here as well. And these are what I usually take and store the food in. So like after my string beans and collard greens are done cooking, I don't want to leave them out on the stove all night. So I put them in here, pop them into the fridge, and either, you know, they can eat right out the, serve themselves right out the bowl because the bowls are so pretty. So I'm going to go get me another set of those. And, of course, make sure, if you can, and this is just optional, if you have a mixer, you know, I'm sorry, if you have a blender on hand, if you need to puree something or blend something or whatever, I have a Ninja. And then make sure that you have a, well, not make sure, but if you have a mixer, you know, a countertop mixer, then that is going to help the process of you baking. So like for me, for instance, when I make sweet potato pies, I use real sweet potatoes. And I have to get the strings out of the sweet potatoes. So what I do is I take the wire whisk that comes with the mixer and I mix it up with that. And what that actually does is it pulls all the strings out of the sweet potatoes. Because, you know, sweet potatoes can be really stringy, sweet potatoes, yams, whatever. They can be really stringy. So that helps pull the strings out of the sweet potato. And then once I do that, I can go in and mix everything up with my flat beater. And that's how my pies come out so perfectly. And then I mix all my wet ingredients and then I add it to the sweet potatoes. And that's how you get that nice smooth finish over the top of your pie, so it doesn't, you know, look all lumpy or whatever. So let me see if there's anything else I can think of to let you guys know. Oh, don't be intimidated. If this is your first time cooking and you don't know how to make cornbread stuffing, if you know somebody that make bomb cornbread stuffing, call them and tell them that you need them to make the stuffing this year. Or if you have no one and you want to make stuffing, I'm going to give you a really easy, simple way to make it. Get you some stovetop stuffing. Yes, get you some stovetop stuffing. Get you some chicken broth. Get you some seasonings like some sage, some salt, some pepper, all that. Doctor it up a little bit. Just, you know what stuffing's supposed to taste like. So just keep adding them some celery seeds. Add them seasonings until you get the desired taste that you're looking for. Thanksgiving don't have to be that difficult. If you are making a turkey and you want to use the, I usually take, when I make stovetop, I usually take the after the chicken is cooked or after the meat is cooked, take a little bit of that oil or whatever that mixture is at the bottom from the pot and put it in my stuffing. Mwah. It makes it taste homemade. You can take anything and make it homemade. If you're intimidated by fresh string beans, get you a can of string beans, get you some smoked turkey or some type of meat. If you don't want that, get you some bacon bits, or you can even get you some regular bacon and just put it in the pot, let it cook, get you some chicken broth, throw that in there with it, some salt, pepper, whatever you use, and just let it cook down. And I promise you, it will taste just like it was homemade. So there are ways around things. If you are making macaroni and cheese for the first time, the best suggestion that I can tell you is to make a roux. And so you're going to get your butter and you're going to melt it down, mix it with your flour, get you a nice little roux going, add your milk, then you can add your seasonings, add all your cheeses, and then you can just throw it over top of your pasta, and just like that, you're done. So these are just a few tips for people who are cooking for the first time. If you're prepared, things will turn out just fine. If you're unprepared, that's when you start panicking. So that's not what we want you to do. So just, keep those few little tips in the back of your mind. And if all else fails, just get you a bottle of wine and wing it, honey. Just do what you do. I mean, you can, as long as you can cook and get the basics down, you can take anything from a package or a can and make it taste homemade. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video, guys. I will talk to you in the next one. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If any of these tips have helped you out, then leave me a comment. Let me know. And I appreciate all your comments. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. See you then. Smooches.